Good morning, everyone. Hopefully everyone's doing well on a Thursday morning. Folks in here. This is the vendor call for the Innovation Showcase. So I know we've got quite a few new folks on the line today, which is great to see. Lots of information to cover today. A few new pieces of information this week. Over the last week that we've kind of been digging into this a little bit more. Setting up the show. As you guys joined the call today, you were muted. If you have any questions throughout this call, you can hit *6 on your phone to unmute yourself, or you can use the Q&A function in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, and then you can ask those questions that way. We'll pick them up, and then we'll get those answered. We've got a whole host of AWG folks on the line today to hopefully answer all your questions you may have. Again, this is for you guys, so if you have any questions whatsoever, ask away. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started. For the new folks that are on the call for the first time, the Innovation Showcase, the location of it this year is going to be the same location that we've had it for in our prior years of doing this. It's at the Overland Park Convention Center in Overland Park, Kansas. Nice facility out there. When is it going to be? So March 20th through March 22nd. Just a really nice facility. Can't say it's just a great facility. We've been out great feedback every year, so we're going to continue to stay there for the time being. So looking forward to it. Sponsorship levels this year, they haven't changed from last year. Let me let a few people in. Here we go. We still have the diamond, platinum, gold, and silver levels. The dollar amounts there, the 53, 42, 26, and 16, those have not changed either. So that's kind of the same thing that we did last year. So nothing too crazy there. The benefits are pretty much all the same. We kind of changed some wording up around there just to clarify some things around the benefits in each one of those columns there, but for the most part, it's all the same that we did last year, prior year. But if you definitely have any questions, feel free to ask around that stuff because we are in the registration phase of the showcase. The showcase organization, what does that look like? So the top one there, vendor registration, it's highlighted there just because that's kind of what phase we're in right now of getting these sponsorships in. What level is your organization going to participate in? So if you have any questions around that, you'll note the email address there. It's annualshowcase@awg.com. Wendy and I are going to be tag teaming the vendor registration this year, so it's a large task. So we wanted to tag team that a little bit more. So we got one email address that we're both watching, just kind of sharing the love, so to speak, for the showcase. So again, if you have any questions around registrations, feel free to reach out to us. You can also reach out to your lane leaders, and that kind of gets into the next conversation here is around center store initiatives, your fresh initiatives, VMC initiatives. If you fall into one of those categories, let's see, letting some more folks into the room. If you fall into one of those categories, feel free to start having those conversations with those folks that are in each one of those lanes. There's some email addresses there that you can reach out to. But booth sizes, what to bring, ideas you're throwing around. If you want to participate in some other things going on at the show, we'll get here in a little bit. Those are the folks you want to have those conversations with. Culinary stage, same thing. Food is a new one I like to call out. So any of the food you're going to bring to the show, if there's any questions around what is that going to look like for you, Jenny's your person to kind of reach out to and have that conversation with. The other one to call out is the mobile app. I'm running with that this year. So if you have any questions around the mobile app, it's not working, username, passwords, all that good stuff. That's me. So feel free to send me an email. The other one I want to call out is the one at the bottom that has Workshop Learning Lounge. Kate's running with that this year. Note her email address. It's Annual Showcase. Again, this area is very large, lots of emails going back and forth, really just too much for one person to handle. So we're going to have multiple people looking at that on an ongoing basis. So if you have any questions around the workshops, Learning Lounge, or the culinary stage, that's who you want to reach out to, which is Kate, but the email address is going to be annualshowcase@awg.com. That email address is really your one shop place to go to. If you have any questions about the show at all, that is the email address you want to send your question or comment to. As you're thinking about your initiatives, because we are in sponsorship phase, I think this is just a couple of them I pulled up from last year. They did a good job of really defining what their sponsorship, or I'm sorry, their initiative is. And the initiative can really be anything. Maybe it's packing changes on a product, could be new merchandising ideas for our members, or maybe a new service offering that you guys are going to offer through your organization, new types of items. So really could be anything. A lot of times people think about initiatives and thinks about technology a little bit. It's not necessarily always about technology. It's a piece of it, but it's not all of it. This is just another example of kind of what Riches and RDS did last year on their online version of the show. They did a really good job of just calling out some content they had along with those initiatives. Again, we're thinking about those initiatives. What initiatives are you going to bring to the show? What education can you bring to the show to further the education of the membership? Learning Lounge, educational workshops, and culinary stage. Again, this was Kate's area. And again, it's that annual showcase at awginc.com email address. Any questions around this? But these are not sales pitches. So this isn't you guys coming in and saying, hey, this is kind of what we do. It's more about what's going on inside that niche in the industry that you guys encompass. So whatever you can bring to the table and educate our members on, that's where we want to hit the target. Where can we, again, just educate our members on maybe something new that's going on out there, or maybe there's stats out there around labor. Labor is a big topic today in the stores. Educational workshops, they're about 25 minutes long, and they're held on Monday, March 20th from 2 to 4. We did that last year, worked out really well down on the first floor. Lots of engagement, lots of folks coming to those. So those are a little bit more bigger workshops, usually larger subjects on that floor at that time. Learning lounges are a little bit smaller, a little bit more intimate. They're 15 to 20 minutes long, and they're really there during the show floor. So when the show floor is open, which will be March 21st from 9 to 5. And then on March 22nd from 9 to noon, we'll be held in the Learning Lounge. This year, the Learning Lounges, we've decided we're going to put those on the first floor, both of them. So it kind of helps with the whole confusion side of things. As far as first floor, second floor, where do I need to go? We're going to put all that together this year to kind of get rid of the confusion. The culinary stage, that's on the second floor, so 35 to 45 minutes. And that could be around demo products. Maybe it's new product preparation. Maybe there's some new recipes that are out there, or maybe best practices for food prep. And those are run again March 21st from 9 to 5, and then March 22nd from 9 to noon. Same time the show floor is open. One thing I did add this week is a link here. So if you hold down your control and if you click on that link, what it'll do is it's going to bring you up a one-pager for the culinary stage. And it's just kind of a flyer giving you additional information about what does that look like. Down here there's a little area. What are the facts? Just a quick read. You can print this off, give it to your folks, or whoever's going to be. If you're interested in that, who's going to run those kind of deals. So lots of information here. And at the bottom of it, there's just some stage leaders, who's organizing that. Again, it goes back to David. He's the one running it. But we've got some other folks you can reach out to. So definitely check that out. Vendor sponsorship registration. So this is what you're going to see at the bottom of the registration, just some notes down there. It's kind of your footnotes. I like to call these out because it is there before you register. Again, I bolded out, it's not a selling show. So that's one of the points I always like making about this showcase. It's not your typical food show. You're not coming in and selling stuff per se. This is more about the education of our membership of, what can they take into their stores in the next 3 to 5 years to make them successful in the next 1 to 3 to 5 years. So that's a more education side of the thing. I know I'm hitting that hard, but I want to make sure everyone understands that. And the second thing I'll call out there is just that annual showcase at awginc.com. If there's any errors with your registration, any issues whatsoever, that's the go-to email address for the showcase. And Sponsorship registration. That's what we're in. So November 30th is going to be the last day for sponsorship registration. It's critical that you guys do get in. And if you're kind of sitting on it, it's like, oh, I've got the whole month of November, get in early. Let's go ahead and get that in. That helps us out on our side with the design of the showcase on the first floor and the second floor. We've got to know who's coming first before we can design it. You know, the first question you guys are going to have for us is booth sizes. You know, what is my booth size going to be? Well, we need all that registration in first before we can really figure that out for you guys. So critically important that if you haven't done it already, just do it, get it out of the way. That way you don't have to think about it for the month of November, and we can get started on a few things on our side. So that's kind of phase one. Phase two is the attendee registration. We're going to open that up in December. It's not open yet. This is where you're going to register your employees or whoever is going to come to the show. So your folks. So we'll open that up in December. So just know there's two phases. The first one is sponsorship registration for your organization. Get that done by November 30th. And then in December, we'll start registering your folks. Again, just a reminder, November 30th is the deadline for that. And then the registration site, pretty simple, straightforward. I'm going to go ahead and show that on the screen just so you can see it. A few pieces of information on here. The simple form. Where's the location? It kind of explains that to you. Sponsorship tiers, just give you a high level. What does that look like? If you wanted to go into more details, like what was on slide 2 in today's presentation, there's a link here. You can click on that and get to that same screen. When you're ready to register, just click on next. It's just simply going to ask you, where's your department? What do you affiliate with inside the showcase? And then your sponsorship tier. Just go ahead and pick your sponsorship tier. Everything after that is pretty simple, pretty standard information, manufacturer information, contact details, broker information. And then here's your vision, your initiatives. What are you going to bring to the show? That's where we need to know, what is going to be your initiative for the showcase. Go ahead and fill that out. Let us know what those are. And then this is another important area. We talked about the Learning Lounge, culinary stage, education workshops. This is where you're going to let us know which of those items you're interested in. So just click on one of these and say, hey, yeah, I'm interested in those. That helps us out on our side to kick off a few processes to get in contact with you and say, hey, what is a Learning Lounge going to look like? What information can you bring to the educational workshops? Or if you're interested in the culinary side of things, what is that going to look for you? And we can start those conversations. And then down below is just all the footnotes that I went through previously. So simple form. If you haven't done this yet, go ahead and do it. Just get it out of the way and be done with it. That way you don't have to think about it anymore, especially going into the holidays. FAQs. Last year we did have an FAQ document. We've kind of hit the reset button on that FAQ document. So any of the questions that come through this call, along with questions going to the annual showcase email address, we're just going to post into this document with the answers. So these are some examples that we've updated for this year. But really just click on that icon over there on the right side in this presentation. And a Word document is going to come up with a bunch of more information that maybe you have questions about. It's updated on a weekly basis, depending on what kind of questions we get. This presentation is in the calendar invite. So how do I get to this presentation? Inside the calendar invite, there'll be a link to it. It's an Office 365 link. It's a PowerPoint presentation. Nothing fancy. It's updated. It's the same one we use every week. So there's one link, there's one presentation. We just simply update that presentation on a weekly basis. So if you ever miss a meeting, ever wonder, how do I get the most current information? That's the place to go. Timeline, next steps. Really September 19th, that one's passed. I should probably take that one off. But November 30th, that's where we are. Vendor sponsorship registration. Get your sponsorship in. Then January 20th, attendee registration. That's when that's going to be due. So that's at phase 2 I was talking about, registering your folks in December. So there's going to be a cutoff time for that also. And then on January 27th, Learning Lounge workshop. That's our target date to be able to provide a schedule to you guys as far as what is the Learning Lounge schedule going to look like? What is the workshop day going to look like? What is that culinary stage going to look like? So that's our target date that we put out there to hold us accountable to get it out there. So we're going to work towards that. It helps on the other side of it also for the member side. We also want to post it out to awgshowcase.com. That is the app they're going to be using for the showcase. Very similar to what we had last year, contact exchanges. We'll get into all that a little bit later on as we get closer to March. But we want to post it all out there so that our members can start seeing what activities are going to be going on in the Learning Lounge, the workshops, so they can start planning their day, so they can figure out what their innovation showcase is going to look like. So we wanted to get it out much earlier than we've done in the past. February 3rd, sponsorship collateral. That is all things print. So we did a lot of printing last year for you guys for the showcase. So this just gives us some time to get that to the print shops and get it back and get it to the show. Just make sure we don't have anything missing. And then on March 20th, the showcase opens. So short timeline, we're going to add to this as things get a little bit closer to March, probably going into January. We'll probably add some more timeline, due dates, that sort of thing. But as right now at high level, this is kind of where we stand. Meeting recordings, every meeting is being recorded. So I'm going to post them out here. So again, if you miss a meeting, wondering what was said, what went on, just click on the link. It's YouTube video. You can watch it and kind of skim through it and that sort of thing. And that is really all I have today. So lots of information I threw at you, especially for the new folks that are on the line today. I'll open it up for you guys to ask any questions you may have about the showcase at this point. You may not. It's probably more about registration more than anything. But I'll open it up to you guys for any questions. All right, quiet group today. I don't see any coming across. Just a reminder that, again, that email questions, if you think of one after this call, just email it to that annual showcase at awginc.com and we'll get that answered for you. So I'll open it up to the group one last time before we close. All right, very good. Thank you for everyone's time today, and we'll see you next week. Have a great week.